Framer has taken the web design world by storm, and I'm not gonna lie, it's captured my heart. It is 100% without a doubt, hands down, my favorite web design and no-code development tool that's pretty much ever existed. For those of you out there who are still deciding whether or not Framer is for you, in this video, I'm gonna share with you the top 5 features that made Framer my favorite tool, and I think it's probably gonna make it your favorite tool as well. If you don't know anything about Framer, then let me give you the quick 30-second spiel of what Framer actually is. Framer is a way for you to build, design, and launch your websites without touching a single line of code. And a lot of other no-code builders will say that, but they still expect you to understand what front-end development kind of feels like. You have to know the box model. You have to understand like divs and classes and all that stuff. And that's not the case with Framer, because you are basically working in what feels like a design tool. It feels very similar to Figma, and you can design inside of this tool on an infinite canvas. You can collaborate with other people. You can publish it straight to the web, and it's feature packed. Like, you can build CMS driven websites, localize it into other languages, and launch it instantly. And that's what Framer is. As a designer who primarily uses Figma, this Framer interface is super comfortable and familiar to me. I have this infinite canvas. I have artboards that represent the different breakpoints of my website. I have this left-hand layers panel and this right-hand contextual panel. Again, it feels like a warm blanket. Like, I just know this thing. And one of the things that I absolutely love and know over in Figma is auto layout. Well, one of the things that really made me love Framer is they have a similar feature called stacks. Stacks allows you to control layouts and create really scalable, responsive components. I have a card over here that's built using that stack feature, but let's do that same thing over here. I have a bunch of different row items. I can actually grab all of these row items, and why don't we put them in a stack together? I'm going to grab them all, right click. You can either add stack or use the hotkey that's there. And when I do that, just like inside of Figma, we can style our frame or our stack. We can manipulate the gap and the spacing between the elements inside of that thing. And we just have a ton of layout control. Now we have our element above. Why don't we actually grab that headline, and we will take all of that and put that in another stack. And we'll start to actually just change a few things here. So really quickly, we'll just say we want to make sure that this card fits the content. And why don't we start adding some padding, starting to look a little bit like a card. Now we can just round the edges a little bit. Why don't we bump up the corner radius and come into our internal stack for all of our list items. And we can just start to increase that gap a little bit more, like so. And again, with this outer stack, we can increase a little bit of that gap as well. So we space the headline away from the list. And look at that. In an instant, we've actually dictated and rebuilt this card. And again, we can change it. We can make it vertical, horizontal. We can change the layout here by just changing the direction if we want to. Stacks is this powerful way of creating layout, controlling layout, and building your websites the same way you'd probably build it in that design tool. When you're designing websites, especially when you're designing websites at scale with lots of pages, you're going to need to create components so that your design elements like buttons and cards and nav bars stay consistent across the board. And on top of building those components, at times you're probably going to want to have variants of those components, or maybe different states like hover and tap or deactivated states. And you can do all of that inside of Framer. We have this website we're building, and the nav bar, you can see when I click on it, it highlights purple in the layers panel as well as on the element itself. And I can also find those in assets, but I can also just double click on that component and it takes me into the component workspace, right? I've left home, working on the nav bar, and I can see that I have my primary nav bar here. There's one variant of it. And over to the right, I also have my mobile variant of it. And inside of this original variant, I have a button, and that button also is, you can see here, its own component. So I'm nesting components inside of other components. I can click on the button, and it actually takes me to the button component itself. And if we want to add some more variations or states to this, it's really easy. All we have to do is click on the button, and you'll see we get 2 options. To the right of it, it's going to tell us that we are able to make a new variant, and below it, we can create a new state. Variant could be size or style or whatever you want it to be, and the state can be hover or pressed. Why don't we create a new hover state for this button? Since we don't have that, we'll create that hover state. going to create it down below, and I can immediately just come over to the contextual panel and start styling. Why don't we remove that background color and just change it to a different color? Maybe it's going to be kind of like this greenish color. Beautiful. Instantly, Framer has baked in that interactivity of my button. So now when I go back and I press play on my prototype, you can see anytime I hover over my buttons, well, not that button, but all my normal buttons, I get that interactivity that I've built. This is how easy it is to start building components and variants and states of those components and starting to build websites that scale really seamlessly and really consistently. One of the hardest things about developing websites in other no-code tools is adding really cool and immersive animations to your website. In some platforms, really tedious processes so you can customize them and make them the way you want, while other platforms are really cookie cutter and you can only pick between a few select animation styles. Well, inside of Framer, you can do really anything and everything you want with immense amounts of control. You can see that when I actually play my design here, I get some elements that are animating up, like for instance, like my nav bar there, my text, but my image here is pretty static. So I'd like to add an animation to it. All I have to do is move over to the layers panel and you can see which elements have those interactions or animations by that little star. I'm actually going to grab that image right there and select it. And then I'm going to head over to my right-hand panel. And as we start to scroll up and down, you will find the effects panel there. So I'm going to hit effects, and why don't we do something? There's lots of different options here. Appear, hover, pressed, all those. Feels very similar to Figma's interactions. We can also do really cool scroll animations, scroll speed, and transform. I just want to do a nice simple appear transition. I add that effect. It says, hey, on appear, it's exactly what we want. We want to fade in. Let's maybe, yeah, we'll fade in, and then we'll customize this a little bit more. So we want it to start from 0. We want it to maybe scale up a little bit. Do we want it to rotate? Not really. And now we can play with the easing and the timing as well. Do I want, normal Bezier curve easing? Do I want to play with some spring animation? That's kind of up to me. We get a nice little preview here of how it's going to look. Why don't we just give it a slight delay, like 0.4 of a delay? I think that'll probably work well for us. I'm going to zoom out, press play on our animation. And now we've added a little bit of animation. And again, you can stack these up, you can change them around, you can customize them any way you want. And it's not just, hover animations that are going to happen or appear animations. We have looping animations that happen. We can do scroll hijacking. So I stop the card there and do some sticky movement here. All of that is happening. Nice, smooth, seamless animations throughout the experience is just going to add a little bit of that spice to make your websites look really spectacular. And again, it only takes a couple seconds to integrate them. One of the best features about Framer is how easy it is to build responsive websites. I think that in a lot of other tools, you have to kind of ebb and flow the screen, and you have to do decisions with your breakpoints and your different sizes, and you can't see them. It's not visual. But inside of Framer, all of your breakpoints are laid out on these artboards in this kind of canvas view. And what's the best thing about it is if I decide that something has to change, like for instance, I need this lockup of text to go underneath, like maybe all the cards, I can move that because it's in an auto layout and it moves everywhere in all of the different breakpoints. And if I need to customize something, I can customize something. So maybe I don't want the image in this tablet view. It goes away only on this tablet view. And if I need another breakpoint, maybe for some reason, this layout starts to break down at a certain size in between laptop and tablet, I can simply grab this element and duplicate a new version of the layout, bring it over here. I can start to actually move it down in size, and then I can start to make those changes. Again, however you want to arrange things, you can, but notice as I put them back like this and I press play on my website, I can start to shrink things down, and I see that in between this size and this size, I've made my image disappear. And that's how simple it is. That's literally all it is. There's some changes you can make that are affected on every artboard across all your breakpoints, but you can also customize things and build new breakpoints. It is a visual, mind-blowing way to build responsive websites that I think has like 10x my speed, my ability to create these websites. So lights out, amazing. You got to try it. One of the most powerful features, in my opinion, for people who want to build freelance businesses and build websites quickly for clients is that Framer makes using templates incredibly easy. There are so many amazing templates that are happening in the Framer community. Some are paid, a lot of them are free. You can grab them, remix them, start using them. This is a free template that looks absolutely amazing. You could start off from this project, rework it, and restyle it to your heart's content. Now, this is not always the case for other platforms that are really limiting in how you can update templates. You have to override classes, write new classes, rework the style guide, all this stuff. Not in Framer, because it's basically just a design tool. You can grab a template. That's what this website actually is, a template. You can jump over to assets and scroll down, and you can start to really quickly change the colors and change the text styles. If I want to use different typography, I can. But again, because it is a design tool more than it is a development tool, or at least it doesn't feel like a development tool, it's very easy to start moving things around and changing and switching things using your auto layout to customize these designs and make them fully yours. You can start with a template in Framer, and by the end of the day, you can have a completely unique and custom looking website, and it just feels like you're designing it. And instantly, as soon as you're done, all you have to do is actually publish the thing, and it is ready to go, ready to be live. Send that staging link to your clients. It's an amazing experience, and how fast you can build websites with Framer. A quick little bonus feature that's pretty new to Framer: they're always trying to make the design and building of websites easier than it's ever been. Something that has been historically really difficult is introducing custom cursors. They just made a new release that allows you to do that. You can create custom cursors like this simple swap and replace cursor. You can do video cursors so that when you hover over an element, it actually plays looping video. You can do things like making eyes like follow you around, and you can build like a project list, so you swap the cursors in and out. And this is actually pretty simple to do. All you have to do is come to your design and actually just select something that you want the cursor to kind of like pop out on. So let's say our image here. I'm going to grab our image, and with it selected, I'm going to scroll down to the bottom right hand corner, and I'm going to start looking for the cursor tab. There it is right there. Let's do something like a custom cursor, and we can find a component that we want to use. Maybe it's the button. It's probably a better one that we could use than that, but let's make it follow us around, and we can add some different transitions and timing, make it kind of springy, choose the offset, and boom, just like that, we've introduced a custom cursor. It may not be the one we want because we just decided to use a button, but boom, just like that, we've introduced custom cursors into our project. And again, that used to be very difficult, and now it's just a couple of clicks. Well, there you have it, a handful of features that made me a huge Framer fan. I'm all in. What about you? Do you enjoy these features? Are you using them? Are you just hearing about Framer for the first time? Let me know down in the comments. I would love to hear what's going on in your design journey. Check the description for a bunch of helpful links for all the resources and assets that I talked about today. And if you enjoyed the video, make sure to leave a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, ring the bell so you know when more Framer content comes out. I hope you're having an amazing week designing amazing things, making amazing things, and building phenomenal websites. See you in the next one.